Okay, so we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the things you noted down here. I think you've made some really good points, and I wanted to just kind of talk about a few of them. Um, Tell me more about. So my question here was how are the other characters treating one of the characters in your book. So choose one and tell me more about whether you want to talk about Farley or whether you want to talk about Farrell. Okay, tell me more about either of these two characters and how they get treated by other characters. So we can go into that in a little bit more detail. Uh-huh.
I don't know how to say it. I think it's Corinne.
Okay.
But Queen Corinne, and why I say that is that she's honestly, the way she gets treated, I hate it because she's the queen of the king.
Uh-huh.
And she's normally meant to be treated with respect, yet she's not.
Okay.
So what I mean by she's not respected behind closed doors, but when the doors are open, she's respected.
Okay.
And that's because it's really important that the Silvers rely on their noble presence or like their noble reputation.
Okay.
So like, being rude to the queen or like trying to sabotage the queen and people having that on the public is really good for it.
Okay.
So that's why people would do it behind closed doors instead.
Okay, that was my question. So people act differently behind closed doors than they do face to face.
Yeah.
Can she use that to her benefit?
She can. A lot of Silvers do.
Okay.
But she's one of those Silvers that were like for red freedom and were like a really, really good person at heart and didn't really want bondage or anything.
Okay.
And didn't want to use words against other people.
Okay.
And that was ultimately her downfall at the end.
Okay.
Being unable to speak up for herself and say, hey, this person's doing this.
How did that make you feel when she wasn't able to speak up?
It was sad knowing that like she couldn't speak up, but she was doing it for a noble cause because she didn't want to cause interruption for her son. Like she didn't want to put anyone else in danger except for herself. Like she knew if she spoke up, that the person who was actually a really powerful person, like Queen Aurora, is a whisperer, and it's extremely rare to find whisperers, and they're extremely powerful. They can control like the human body and things. Like they can whisper to you and they can get inside your head and know what you're thinking and everything like that.
Okay.
And she was a really powerful person. She's like, well, she can do this to me, but if that means I'd rather have her do it to me than she do it to like my son or the king, which eventually she does do it to the king.
Okay.
Or anyone else. She'd rather she take it than other people.
Okay. Let's skip down to this one. Can you tell me about choose either of these characters and then how is the character feeling when other characters are treating them well or poorly? You can choose one of those to talk to me more about.
Farrell is a very confident person. She's not really a person to be put down, and she's also not a person that would show her feelings a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She'd rather show up with like her close like friends, like Mare. You can see like glimpses of her feelings with Mare. Like she's actually willing to show Mare at the end, even though at like the beginning they were like kind of distant with each other.
Okay.
But eventually they become close and they become like really good friends. So she's more opening to feeling her feelings.
Okay.
And she's also extremely cunning. She's a really smart person. She's actually a general, which is why she has like really good battle tactics, and she's also really known for considering she's the leader of the Red Dawn. And then you have the Queen, and she is dead and regretful. She is very much dead.
Okay.
That was actually well known like the beginning.
This is good when you go back to the text and you find a place where that happens.
It's still scars.
Okay.
Right before it, it said, the next morning, a maid found her bridal crown broken on the floor and explosions of pearls and twisted gold. There was silver on it, blood dark from the passing hours, and her bath water was black with it. The diary ended unfinished, unseen by any who deserved to read it. Only Alara saw its pages. And slowly unraveling the woman inside, she destroyed the book like she destroyed Corinne, and she dreamed of nothing.
Okay. How did you feel when you read that bit?
I felt sad because eventually I was like, okay, well I knew this was coming because I'd read the passing books and it was like made clear when you first found out who Cole was, or Cal, not Cole. Cal was that his mother was gone because there was Laura and Laura looked nothing like him. She had blue eyes, she had ember eyes, black hair, platinum blonde. They were completely different from each other, though he did look a lot like his father.
I like what you. I love how you went back to the text to find something that happened that made you think that that supported what you had to say. That's a really good thing that good readers do. So nice job on that. I want to go back. I want to come down to here. So like I said, I like your text details, and you're making incredibly strong inferences about your character. So far, you've told me things about the confidence, the level of cunning, um, looking to find like a character's downfalls, their failure to speak up. That really speaks to like character development, motivation. What's like kind of like almost a blind spot. Do you know what blind spot means? Like that thing that you don't see, but everyone around you maybe does, and so how that can really influence a lot of things that characters do and say and act upon in books. And like if as a reader you're able to identify that, it shows me that you're really able to connect well with your book. And you've also talked about a lot of really good big ideas in the book, like the power, the element of risk, the who's the nobility, like those kinds of words is really good. I'll be with you in 1 sec. Um, I want to just come down to this answer right here. So my question was, can you understand how the character is acting? But books like these are a great way to learn empathy, being able to understand someone without being them. Can you tell me more about what you meant there?
Now, one thing I learned with the growth and how stuck with me, well, it's actually in fourth grade, this is my teacher in the second,
Okay.
and it was empathy. And at first, I was like, "Do you mean sympathy?" Because I can understand sympathy, like having pity for someone else, but empathy is where you're able to put your placement in someone else's shoes, like you're able to feel what they're feeling.
Okay.
And one place I felt empathy. It said, Julian felt quite the same, judging by his twisted expression, but the arguing with Jasmine, who was the cousin or like older, higher being in the family, was fruitless as the trees in a corrupted old orchard. Of course, cousin, he said with a voice better suited to a funeral. And that's why I felt empathy, because it was a really good foreshadowing moment. Because if you read the other books, you knew that Kareem was gonna die. And when they said better suited for a funeral, I could really feel like just being put in the middle of like the years or like the months to come where like Cal will eventually like grow up without a mother and will eventually like meet Mare and like the whole Red Down Rebellion, and you can just like feel like you're actually in the book.
Okay. So it seems like you had a like easy time, or it was straightforward for you to empathize with the characters in this book. Do you find it easier to empathize with characters in general that you read about, or or does it depend on the book? Like, what do you think?
Oh, it's easy for me to empathize with just people in general.
Okay.
It's not something really hard. Because I love books like this, and it just grows easier for me after like reading time and time again about different people, different egos and outlooks. And it's also why I became such a good writer, because I look at different outlooks to strengthen my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. There's a strong link between reading and writing. Okay, great job. Gonna, as you keep reading, just continue to make those connections and think about characters from characters' perspectives.